has something to say. Prayer and pledge today will be given by Dinkins Grange. Dinkins.
Let us pray together, each according to our individual beliefs. Let us offer thanks for our food and blessings for one another. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. Let us give gratitude for our opportunity to serve. And each of us may feel a responsibility to our community, our country, and all countries and peoples. Bless our fellowship today and bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies and your service. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dinkins. Christy King, would you like to catch us up on our family of Rotary, please?
Yes, thanks, President Tom. See if am I there? Okay, there we go. We just have one birthday this week. Ryan Maloney is celebrating his birthday on March 7th. And I just also wanted to mention that past President Vicki Lynn and her husband, Rod, would have celebrated 16 years of marriage on March 5th. So anyone who'd like to drop her a note or check in on her, I'm sure she would appreciate hearing from her Rotary family.
You all set? Does that catch us up?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, great.
Thanks, President Tom.
Thanks, Christy. Good job. So, so this Thursday night is our Rotary Oratory. It's, yes, I'll keep saying it so that everyone can, you know, I hear a little bit of surprise in the audience. No, it is this coming Thursday. And doors will open at 6 o'clock. It's at WJCT Studios. If you haven't already RSVP'd, we still have room for a few more people, I think. Right, Dinkins? Right, Lisa Marie? No one will commit. I'll just commit. So yeah, we're not gonna turn you away. So yeah, and the show starts at 7. So so it's a big deal. We'd love to have you if you can make it. And so this is also my general reminder to RSVP. Look at all the people we have here today. That's good. So everyone's paying attention, which is great. And it's the only way that we can do all that we're able to do for you. And also to let us know whether you will be Zooming or attending live, because there is a difference. So, Randy Gordon, would you like to introduce our visitors and guests, please? Randy.
So do we have any visitors and guests on Zoom today? I guess it's a no. So we go right into our song.
Do we have any visiting Rotarians?
Any visiting Rotarians?
What's the
Check with Patty and didn't sound like we had anybody. So Maestro. We here in Rotary welcome you today. So glad you came along, glad you came our way. And the fellowship is your pouring rain. We here in Rotary say welcome, come again.
Yay.
All right.
We really want to clue our visitors in and let Dinkins Dave, or I couldn't quite see their expression, but I have a feeling it was kind of like, what?
So we're a singing club. That's
Of a
our
sort.
welcome song. Yeah, of sorts. Yeah. Only, yeah, past President Lee is the only person who can sing in the entire room. I feel safe in saying. So, you know, but thank you for being with us. It's for you more than anything else. Oh, did you say hey? Was that you, Lisa Marie?
All right. All right. Competition.
Wow. Okay. Next week. So we'll give you an opportunity. Right. Yeah, the two of you. I bet Lee will do it too. Yeah. Yeah. So, Lisa Marie, would you like to introduce our speakers today?
President Tom, it would be my pleasure.
That is fantastic. Come on up.
Well, it is my pleasure to introduce our guests, but before I do, I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm going to because it was Jason. So Jason Burnett was supposed to be introducing our guests, but just like his guests who were supposed to be scheduled to come who don't show, Jason didn't show. So I have the honor and pleasure of actually introducing our speakers today. And I actually, ironically, recently became acquainted with a colleague who I learned is a board member of First Tee. Nikki Sparrow, who is one of your board members. So she and I were talking about First Tee. So it kind of happened the way it needed to. So it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jeff Willoughby, who's the Executive Director of First Tee. Jeff started with First Tee St. Johns County in December of 2009 as lead golf instructor. He was then named Executive Director of First Tee North Florida in July of 2016. Jeff has held several different roles in First Tee Network, including Program Director and Executive Director for St. Johns County and Director of Programming for North Florida. He is a recognized coach and Program Director for Tee Network. Prior to joining First Tee, Jeff was a Senior Director for the YMCA of Florida's First Coast. Jeff holds degrees in Business Administration and Sports Management from Flagler College. In his spare time, Jeff enjoys cooking, driving his Jeep on the beach, and traveling. Let's welcome Jeff, but hold your applause because he has an even better sidekick. So I also have the pleasure of introducing Brooke. So let me scan to my next page here. Brooke has the compliment of being born and raised here in Jacksonville, Florida. Let me turn this way, my old eyes. She was a sports fanatic from a very young age, played softball for 15 years, attended Florida Institute of Technology. In our family, we lovingly like to call it FIT. My husband's also a grad. She was there on a softball scholarship and graduated with her degree in sports management. After interning with the First Tee of North Florida, she quickly discovered passion for golf and changing the lives of children in the community, and now has been with the organization for over 5 years and just took on the new role of Director of Development in January of this year. Congratulations. We think, right? She believes that the 9 core values that First Tee teaches is crucial for a young person's character development. First Tee has made a huge impact on her life, and her hope is to do everything she can to give back and impact, influence, and inspire the youth of North Florida. Please welcome Jeff and Brooke to the podium. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us. I hope this is on. All right, good. First off, thank you for allowing us to come and speak to you guys. And obviously, I just kind of thought about this. She played softball, I played baseball. Neither one of us played golf, but yeah, we still work for a golf organization. So I just say if we can do it, anybody can play golf. And that's one of the grand things about the thing. I know we're going to be working with Patty a little bit on our slideshow. Start with an intro. Hopefully this works. Patty, hit one more time. There we go.
First Tee has created experiences that build character. We believe every kid deserves to feel supported, safe to try something new, and to be prepared for what comes next. We develop their swing, but more importantly, their inner strength. Because we know what's inside doesn't just count, it changes the game. Come join us at First Tee.
So we do have this little thing known in the area next week. Anybody want to guess what it is?
Golf related.
Golf related.
TPC coming.
Could be the Players. So the Players is one of our largest supporting sponsor, donor, whatever we want to call them, because they do a lot more than just give us money. They even run commercials like that you guys will see next week. You might even have already seen it if you watch Golf Channel or NBC during some of the tournaments. Also, too, you might see that commercial even if you watch Action News Jacks. They also proudly display that. And then go over to Brooke for.
Yeah, so our mission statement, I'll give it to you in a nutshell, to impact the lives of youth in North Florida through the game of golf. We use golf as our vehicle to do so. So our goal is not to make the next Tiger Woods or Jordan Spieth their professional golfer. Our goal is to make kids better citizens in the community, but using golf as our vehicle to do so. All right. A vision statement is North Florida community where all children are introduced to the values necessary to make wise choices when confronted in life's challenges and have the skills necessary to live successful lives. All right, next slide.
So just a little bit of history. We started back in 2001 in the North Florida area. We had our first tee of Jacksonville location, which if any of you have ever been up to Brentwood Golf Course, it was the home there for many years. And we also had first tee of St. Johns County. Both of them serviced their individual counties for a little bit over 10 years. And finally, our national office came to us, which if any of you don't know, our national office is actually located here in town as well. We are the only chapter that has our national office, the PGA Tour headquarters, and the LPGA Tour headquarters in our service area. So we have a lot of eyes on us. But our national office came to us and said, we really think you guys could do a lot more for the community if you came together instead of, competed against each other. We had a lot of kids that lived on the borders of Duval and St. Johns County that kind of, maybe partake in both or had to make a decision of which one they wanted to be. So they came together, our boards came together. We finally mutually merged and became North Florida. In addition to Duval and St. Johns County, we picked up Nassau County, Clay County, Putnam, Flagler, and Volusia. So we do go from Amelia all the way down to Daytona Beach, and that's where having the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour in our service area comes into play. One of the major things that the first tee is known for, in addition to our curriculum, is we are in every single state. So there's at least a first tee in every single state, even Alaska. They do have golf courses in Alaska, which honestly I didn't know. All the way out to Hawaii, and then also we have a lot of international partners. So everything from South Korea, Mexico, Colombia is a new one. We used to have one in Ireland, which I'm sad to say closed down a couple of years ago. And they're continually adding new ones, as time goes on and as the first tee expands. But we do have a very large international reach as well as a domestic reach as well. Patty? So how do we teach kids? Raise your hand if you've ever, and I'm going to say this in a couple ways, played golf on a golf course, been somewhere like a Topgolf or another driving range, or even putt-putt. Almost everybody. All right, for those of you that, raise your hand if you have not done any of those. All right, so everybody, I was going to say, I welcome you to come out to maybe Brentwood and we'll give you some instruction.
I won't.
So we reach children 3 different ways, and they are very, very large ways as far as capacity. So our number 1 reach is working with elementary school age children. We actually go into the schools. We work with the PE instructors. We give them equipment. We give them curriculum, and they provide the teaching to the kids. And we reach a little bit of almost 100,000 kids in that program here in North Florida. The second is kind of a hybrid. We go in and we work with other youth serving organizations. So I don't know if you heard in my bio, I used to work for the YMCA Florida's First Coast. Y is one of our big partners that we go in. We actually teach their employees how to train our kids, or how to train their kids, I should say. The hybrid is because we interact with those youth serving organizations as well. So we'll go in and take our coaches in to work with their instructors and their kids. Sometimes we do it on their property. Sometimes they come out to a golf course. It can kind of be delivered in a bunch of different ways. That program reached a little bit over 50,000 kids. And then our kind of the cream, the top of the pyramid, where we really make an influence with the children, is our life skills program. And that is a little bit more voluntary. So it is either parents or guardians that choose to bring their kids out to a course. We currently work with about 20 different golf courses that deliver programs on a weekly basis. And our coaches, which we have about 40 part-time coaches and then another 40 volunteers, work with those kids individually, and that's in our different levels of the program. So you'll hear names like player, par, birdie, eagle, and our ACE program. Think of it a lot like school. You go to first grade, what do you have to do? Take some tests and do a bunch of assignments, and then you get to become a certain age and you go to second grade. Same thing with our program. They go through the program for about 2 years before they're able to go to the next level. And then when they get to our ACE level, kind of think of that as like college. They're doing individual assignments. They're really working on both their golf and their education careers, as well as looking at career exploration and also volunteerism and giving back to the community. Those are the four main focal points of the ACE program. That program, we reach almost 2,000 children. So who's good at math? Anybody want to guess? And I'm going to give the 19 number because the 19 number is a little bit more than our COVID 2020 number. Anybody want to guess how many children we reached in North Florida in 19?
35,000.
All right, so I'll do a quick synopsis. Over 100 in schools, over 50 in the community partners, and almost 2,000 in the life skills. 155. Yep, a little bit over 155,000 children we reached in North Florida back in 2019. Unfortunately, with COVID, we lost a lot of that 50,000 with the community partners because they stopped doing any third-party partnerships for the year. But we're back on track to kind of reaching that number again. So we do reach a lot of children. Like I said, though, that 2,000 number, that's really when you hear a story of a first T kid, they're coming from that group. So our goal is how can we get them from the 150,000+ number into that 2,000 frame, and that's where obviously a lot of the resources and stuff come in as well. Patty? So in addition to those three programs, we offer a lot of supplemental things. And the supplemental programs is really just how can we get the kids a little bit more engaged? How can we maybe even introduce their parents to the game? Some of the major things that I focus on, because I was kind of behind them when we developed them, our tournament series. How many of you have ever, a lot of hands went up that you've played in a tournament or that you played golf. Raise your hand if you've ever played tournament golf. Not as many, but a handful. Quick story why we created the tournament series. I had a 6th grader come to me back, I believe it was my 2nd year when I was working, and I knew he had a middle school tournament, and doing a middle school tournament. It's like, Coach Jeff, man, I got DQ'd. And I said, what happened? He said, well, I was like 3 holes in, and my dad yelled at me from across the fairway to use a certain club, and the rules official came over, and unfortunately, he was DQ'd. So if you don't know that about golf, it's based on you, your knowledge. If you have a caddy, yes, your caddy can give you advice. A parent across the fairway does not count as a caddy, nor does a spectator or a coach. So obviously, from that point forward, we really wanted to make a change. So our tournament series, we really work on the player's knowledge of tournament scoring, rules, pace of play, and then also, more importantly, with all that, we work on spectators, which AKA parents for a lot of people. I always said I never wanted another kid to be disqualified because of their parent, and that's more just a lack of education on the parent side. STEM is another big program that our national office has helped develop. So that's science, technology, engineering, and math. That's something that we're big on. National and local opportunities. So local opportunities would be something like that little tournament that's coming around next week. I'll let you in on some of the things that we have going on with the players. Very similar to what we are doing right now in this virtual world. We had about 17, 18 kids last Wednesday. They were able to get on this virtual Zoom technology, and they got to interview somebody named Rory McIlroy. Anybody ever heard of him? He's our defending champion, and he's the longest standing players champion because we had a little hiatus. But we had children that got the opportunity to interview him on Wednesday, thanks to Players in Optum for that sponsorship. Other local opportunities, we'll have 5 children that are participating in something that the tour puts on called Training You, and that is done during players, and it basically goes over all the different jobs that are associated in the golf industry. I learned this number and I was blown away. Does anybody want to guess how many jobs fall under the golf umbrella? How many? 500 what?
1,000.
Bigger. Bigger.
Like 5 or 6 million.
A little bit lower than that. 1.9 million jobs fall underneath the golf umbrella.
In the US?
Well, worldwide.
Worldwide.
Jobs, not positions. Okay. got
Yep, different jobs. So there's more positions than that.
it. Right, okay.
So obviously, we're teaching children that if they love the game of golf, that they obviously don't have to be a player to move forward in the industry. And that's what the tour is kind of helping us provide in that. The national opportunities, and this one, it hits my heart because I love to go and coach on a national level. That's one thing that, because I'm a recognized coach, I have the ability to go do. But we have different opportunities that our kids can apply for. So the same way that our kids apply for college scholarships and their collegiate applications, they apply for national opportunities. I'll go over 2 of them just because they're the ones that mean the most to me. And it's newly name changed this year. It used to be called the Life Skills Academy. And I think that kind of hits home because they're truly going off and they're staying on college campuses. They're learning different life skills. They're interacting with different kids from all over the country. They're being educated on how to give back to the community, and their golf skills are being put to the test. It has been changed to, because our logo has changed, along with our branding, to Building Game Changers Academy. Nothing's different. It's going to be up in Philadelphia this year, I believe. But they bring in 96 kids from around the country and 24 coaches from around the country. And they take part in a whole week-long academy that they really truly learn from, and they'll have friends for the rest of their lives. The other one you may have heard, anybody ever heard, there's a kind of cool golf course on the West Coast called Pebble Beach. Have you ever heard of that? Well, they partner with the PGA Tour Champions players, and they go out in September and they play in what's called the First Tee Open. And that's an opportunity for the player to go out and play not only with the Champions Tour player, but also for a lot of our kids, they've never done things like got on a plane, seen the West Coast or the Pacific. Even one of the biggest ones, because they're golfers, they go, Coach Jeff, what's this grass over here? Because it's way different than what we have here. You know, here we're used to Bermuda and that's about it. Over there, they have all these different kinds of grass that they've never even seen. You know, so for some of the kids, it's an opportunity for them to travel, which is awesome. Quick story about it's a little bit bigger than Pebble Beach. We had a kid a couple of years ago, we're out playing, and all of our kids get business cards because that's obviously a good way to interact with business people and, you know, exchange information. And one of the kids, Trevor, he's playing with this amateur because there's a lot of amateur players that play out there. And we go to lunch after the round, and Trevor's kind of shaking. He gets his business card out, he hands it to this guy. And the guy's name's John. He goes, you know, Trevor, I stopped doing business cards a long time ago. And he goes, instead, I'll give you my email. If you can't remember it, I've learned I really don't want to talk to you if you can't remember my email. And Trevor goes, okay. He's like, Coach Jeff, I need a pen. And the guy goes, no, it's really, really simple. It's john@ebay.com. And Trevor looks at him and he goes, well, that's a pretty simple email. How'd you get that? Like normally it's your first last name. And he goes, well, when you invent the company, you get your first choice. So all of a sudden, Trevor knows now the founder of eBay, and they've communicated on, you know, a couple of times here and there. But that's the kind of people that these kids get to meet out at Pebble Beach. So it's more than just Pebble, which is obviously a good thing, but it's a little bit more than that.
Let him take a breath. Okay, so we also have our girls golf program, which obviously being a female in the golf industry hits home for me. Girls golf program was started by the LPGA, USGA came together and said, you know, we want to do something to make a difference in the golf world. And if you guys have ever been to a golf tournament, it's probably men, which is fine, but it is always nice to see females out playing the game and feeling comfortable playing the game. So that's kind of why that program was started, was we wanted to give females a voice on the course and have a space where they felt that they were welcomed and felt comfortable playing a sport that is a male dominant sport. So that was created. We do run girls only or female based classes throughout the week. So like Jeff touched on our normal programming. So we do have like a Saturday class at Brentwood that is female only. And I will say that program has done a lot. We did have a girl in our program who she got really excited. She was a part of the first tee and the girls golf program, and she was the first female on her all boys high school golf team and was the captain of her all boys golf team. So really cool things that are happening through that program and just giving the girls the confidence to just go out there and play and, you know, be one of the boys. So there's that. And then we also have our summer camp. So we're actually getting really big and to start pushing our summer camps for this year. Those are week-long camps. So it is a lot of our life skills experience that Jeff talked about that is in a week format. So we have 2 different times. We have the 9 to 12 and a 9 to 5. So just depending on age is what time frame those kids can go into. And then next slide. Okay, so here's a few things that our program touches on or helps with, I would say. So we have our graduation rates, obesity in children, getting kids out of the house, off phones, not playing video games, out doing physical activity. Crime rate, again, giving kids something to fill their time besides school, and then developing future leaders in our community. I do want to touch on the graduation rates really quick because that is something that we are very proud of. So the kids that are in our life skills experience, that 1,500 to 2,000 kids that are going through our week-long classes, coming to summer camps, doing clinics, staying in the program, we have a pretty cool statistic that if a kid stays in that program for 3 years or longer, we have a 100% graduation rate from high school. The current Duval County, the last time I checked like a few weeks ago, was 86% graduation rate in Duval County. So that is something that we're very proud of, and just goes to show you that our program does work and teaching the kids the right things in life that they need to succeed. Okay.
Patty?
Is she back there?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so how can you help? Here's the big question. That people can help be a part of the First Tee family, as we like to call it. So big one, donate. And there's more than one way you can. We accept donations of equipment, clothes, shoes, used balls. All that stuff comes back to our program. We do club drives at different courses. So if you're a member at a course and you say, hey, like this is something that I'm really passionate about, or I have a garage full of stuff I haven't used, or I even want to go to the PGA Tour Superstore and purchase a set of clubs to donate to a kid in need. All of those things are things that can happen that we can make work out. Well, as volunteering, I say donating of your time. We always like volunteers in our program. We have about 100 coach volunteers. There is a background check process that you'd have to go through to do that, but something that we are always looking for is coaches to stand alongside our kids and really teach them the program. Don't be intimidated if you're not the best golfer. Like I said, I started off in the program and I've learned so much about golf in the last 6 years. So don't be intimidated if you're not up to the golf rules. You'll figure it out. And obviously donating funds. We are a nonprofit, so that is how we run our organization. We take just general online donations, but then also donating through one of our multiple fundraisers. So we have a couple that I'll touch on real quick. We actually have 7 affiliate tournaments that we're running this year, which is a lot for us, but we're really excited and hope that number continues to grow. So an affiliate tournament is basically a tournament that we host at a country club where we allow, it's open to the public usually. So like Timuquana usually is a private club that is open to non-Timuquana members to come and play. That is something I know the West Rotary Club was very interested in participating in, because I know that was their home course, and it's in your service area. So essentially that's going to be July 19th at Timuquana Country Club. We'll have foursomes that will participate. We're taking sponsorships, we'll do raffles, all that fun stuff. We do need volunteers for all of those tournaments also, if that's something that you're interested in. Definitely let me know. I know I talked to Mary about maybe you guys having if that is something that you have a big focus on, we can have one of you sit on the committee and really help be a part of that tournament and kind of make it your own. Another big event that we have coming up on May 19th is our annual Taste of Golf event. Some of you might have heard of it. We usually have an 16th year at TPC Sawgrass. Normally, the event hosts about 600 people at the TPC Sawgrass Clubhouse, where we have a massive auction, dancing, open bar, really, really fun night. It's not your typical like sit and we're going to talk to you for 3 hours fundraiser. It is a party, and people love it. And we have chefs that come in from 13 different country clubs that cook little small bites, so you get to like walk around the room and pick up food. Obviously, thanks to COVID, we cannot do that. Hopefully we can go back to that next year, but this year we had to do something a little bit different. So we are taking Taste of Golf on the golf course. Because if any of you have noticed, the one thing that has stayed during COVID is golf. People are going to play, they are having fun. You can keep your distance with people, it's outside, it's a pretty safe thing to be doing during these crazy times. So that event will be May 19th at TPC Sawgrass Clubhouse. It's essentially going to be a golf tournament on the stadium. World-renowned course, really, really fun day. And then we're going to bring some of our chefs on course. So you get to golf and taste food, which I know I do. So that's another cool event. And I'm more than happy to send you guys our full event schedule of the year too. Like I said, we have 7 tournaments. So there's a lot going on. And then finally, register your child. So if you have a child, grandkid, neighbor, someone that you think would be interested in our program, we're open for registration. We're about to start spring 3 in the next month or so, and then summer camp. So if you have anybody that's interested, I would be more than happy to send you more information. And with that, turn it back to Jeff.
How do you flip it one more time? So I'll give one real quick stat. 2020 saw the second highest increase in golf ever. Does anybody know when the number 1 highest increase was? We do have some golfers, good. Yep, so it was about a 0.5 percentage behind when Tiger started in the increase in golf. So while a lot of us were on Zoom calls and in our office at home, a lot of people were out on the golf course playing. And I couldn't even imagine how much more the golf industry would have exploded if they didn't have certain COVID protocols in place. Because what a lot of people didn't understand is they were so busy, but they staggered different tee times that were blocked that didn't have anybody in, just to keep the players separated a little bit more. So if they didn't do that and players were just out on course walking or in carts, you know, we would have probably beat Tiger's 1997 year. I think one thing going along with what Brooke said, obviously we have a lot of ways that people can get involved. Even the big umbrella to that is just advocacy. You know, if you have anybody that is a golfer and maybe likes kids or likes, you know, investing into tomorrow's societies, you know, spread the word about First Tee and what we do, because obviously that's something that, you know, as we can get anybody engaged in our program, then that works. Other major projects that we have going on, I'm going to hit on 2 that kind of focus in this internal Jacksonville downtown area. One is our Brentwood location. Has anybody ever been to Brentwood? Brentwood, now it is a 9-hole golf course. It used to be an 18-hole Donald Ross design back in '60s. Closed down back in the civil rights movement, actually because there was some African-American golfers that tried to get golf there 7 days a week. The city in turn shut it down and kind of ended there. Well, through partnerships with First Tee of Jacksonville and the PGA Tour and TPC Sawgrass, they rebuilt it back in 2000, and it was open to the kids in 2001. There is a clubhouse that is there that was built back in 2001 that is needing some updating. And a project that we are working on now, we're actually trying to work on it with ex-commissioner or retired Commissioner Fincham from the tour, but is working on a new learning center. So this is an example of one that was built up in Pittsburgh. This is the Arnold Palmer Learning Center. But as you can see, it is a massive building. What we're talking about building at Brentwood is about a $2.5 to $3.5 million building. How many of you have been to Topgolf? Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah.
Imagine having a Topgolf in Brentwood. in that downtown area. Everything with lights. We're working with City of Jacksonville to possibly put up lights and have a little bit more of a non-daylight, non-traditional activity space for the families up there. Basically the back of this, and Patty, you can go flip through one more slide. It's kind of a picture. This is once again the Pittsburgh facility, but we would be very, very similar. So we would have indoor space with greens and simulators. One more, Patty. And then, so where ours would differ from theirs is that kind of top grayed out portion. Imagine being that Top Golf. So you would literally be hitting out onto the range facility at Brentwood with a double decker, facility with two floors of hitting bays, and really give the community a lot more to do, give downtown business people a lot more to do. Instead of fighting traffic going out to town center, you might be able to break away to lunch and go to Brentwood. So really trying to increase that space. We're hopeful this project's actually, it's kind of a multi-tiered project with the tour and other areas similar to Jacksonville across the country that really have an underserved population. They're in a tour market, meaning that there's a tournament there, and third part being that there's a first tee there. And these are different projects that we kind of have on our plate that I say long-term, this thing could be open in 2022. That's how quick of a turnaround the tour wants to really try and work on and making that. So obviously, as Brooke said, there's a lot of different ways that Rotaries can get involved, whether it's getting involved in different events that we have or getting involved in major projects like this. And at the end of the day, though, it's all about the kids. I don't know where Lisa went, but she met Nikki Sparrow, and that's one of our board members, and that's what she says. At the end of the day, it's all about the kids, and that's what we want to do moving forward. But other than that, Tom, I'll open it back to you or to questions if anybody has anything. Yep.
What ages are your kids?
5 until they graduate high school. And I say until they graduate high school, but our alumni network is vast, and I always say we're kind of like the second parents to them, so we never kick them out of the house fully. They can always come back and ask questions. We work with a lot of kids that are currently in college or even beyond college.
We have any on Zoom? Hey, on Zoom, unmute if you got a question. 5, 4, 3, 2, okay.
So is Brentwood the only location you have, or?
Nope. We work. Yeah, in Duval County, there's 8 or 9 courses that we work at.
We have 17 courses over, 17 to 20 over the 7 county.
So Duval County is Brentwood, Jacks Beach, UNF, Windsor Park, Hidden Hills. We're getting ready to open up. It's actually going to be Brentwood's sister course. Does anybody remember a course called University Country Club?
Oh, yeah.
Used to be changed into Blue Cypress. For those of you that don't know, Blue Cypress is getting ready to open. You'll probably see a press conference. This is all internal information. I'm telling you all a secret. But there's going to be a press conference sometime right after Players announcing the Blue Cypress opening. So for those of you that may even live over close to that area, just to literally a site visit last week, I'm going there right after this meeting. We're gonna have a learning center there as well, but the course is in awesome shape. A lot different than what it was 5-6 years ago right before it closed down. But there's 9 holes there. They're looking to expand and build another 3, so you'll have up to 12 holes to play. But that will be another one of our sister courses that, it will be just like Brentwood, where we're flooding the market with kids. It was, yep. There's a lot of land. A lot of land was used for the park that's there now, but there's still some different land. And so they're looking to build 3 more, but they actually have room to build a couple more holes beyond that. But it's in a good shape. And the other good thing about it, which I actually didn't know, anybody want to guess how many bunkers there are on the course? It's always something that I have a problem with, but there are 0 bunkers on that course.
Huh.
So if you ever want to go and play, it is all fairway cut grass or green cut grass and no bunkers. So it's actually a pretty playable course, which for us and the kids, that works out even better.
And that's the kind of course most of us need.
Exactly. I'll even give you a lesson maybe. Other than that, I think.
Jeff,
Some
yeah,
questions?
y'all ever have kids who move and link up with another first team group and continue on, or do they
Both.
stay pretty local?
Both ways, yeah. So every first tee chapter is different, but the good thing about our network is whether they move here or they move away, and there's a first tee that they can always link up, and we try and get them in the same, the same level that they were in. I always say we run our program a little bit harder. We're a little bit tougher on the kids. So sometimes kids coming into our program, they got to get caught up. Where when we send a kid off and they've joined another first tee, they're always like, this kid's like a leader immediately, which is good on our staff. But yeah, they can transition. We've had a couple people go where there wasn't a first tee, which is sad because they're really like, we miss first tee in the family. But we're working on that.
I'd be interested to hear how you plowed through last year. The players is your largest benefactor, and I'm assuming they had very little to share with you last year with no tournament.
This is how much the players believes in us. We were the only charity that got the full amount
Wow.
last year.
We were
Yep, and
not
that will be,
expecting
and actually that'll be something that's spotlighted through this go around of the players. They believe in us, is what we do with the kids and what our outcomes is, that the full support that they normally give every year, they retain. Yeah, it was challenging through COVID, but we actually almost saw more donor generated revenue than ever. Might have been smaller amounts individually, but more people gave, which is a good thing. And we had the highest summer camp numbers that we've ever had. While some of our numbers were down, with other partners, but the summer camp numbers were skyrocketed because, when we got into summer last year, kind of think about it, we were kind of coming out of some restrictions and parents are literally like, take my kid.
We did do, fun fact, our staff learned, it was crazy how we did it. We ended up doing like WebEx classes. So we did golf classes virtually. Still not sure how we did it, but it worked and it was awesome. A little tough with the 5-year-olds, just keeping their attention, not being right in front of them. But I mean, it was really fun. And we went and videoed ourselves out on the golf course, showing how to do things. And then we would play the video and the kids would do the instruction at home. And we modified everything. We're like, okay, you guys can like ball up a paper towel or a piece of paper and use that as your golfer, so we don't break anything in your parents' house. But it was cool. It was really cool to see our staff and all the kids and parents come together to work through what was last year.
So you had kids swing a golf club in their parents' house?
No, we told them to modify, like,
Outside?
a lot of them were outside. If they couldn't go outside, then we showed them just techniques of swinging without the golf club and
Okay.
putting. They did putt
Okay.
inside sometimes using not real golf balls.
And we asked the parents to be on that Zoom call
Yes.
as well. So
Yeah,
that was,
supervision.
yeah, that was helpful.
Yeah.
Other than the schools and the like you were talking about earlier, and some of the organizations that you work with, I know you were talking about kind of getting more girls involved and that sort of thing. Do you work with any of the other organizations like Girls Inc. or any of those other local groups to try and get more involvement?
Yeah,
Can you
Girls League,
repeat
Girls
that?
Run. Yeah, there's a bunch. I know that was Brooke mentioned on the girls part. I know when I started 11 years ago, in our life skills program, I reached about 9% of our kids were girls. And through staff like Brooke that have really taken on the girls golf side, we're up to over 35% now in the program are girls. When you look at our total program, and obviously that incorporates the schools and the other ones, we're over 50%. Which actually means we have more girls than boys in the program, which is awesome.
So you might have mentioned that first tee, you mentioned it was in every state. Where did it start?
So it actually started in Indiana.
Okay.
Indiana was the first green grass facility. The announcement was made in 1997 in Central Park, New York. And you had people like Tim Fincham, President George Bush 41, some other major golf partners. So when First Tee originally started, it was actually founded by the PGA Tour, PGA of America, USGA, and LPGA, and had Shell as their presenting sponsorship, corporate opportunity. A misconception, the first tee, you'll hear a lot, was founded by Tiger Woods. It was not. That first tee is only for inner city kids. It is not. First tee is for every child. I don't care if you're living a mile from Brentwood or if you grew up in Ponte Vedra Beach. First tee program is for every child, and that's one of the biggest things. So literally, when I say 5 to they graduate high school, it is any child until they graduate. It started back in '97. There was very quickly a handful of chapters. And then this area came about a couple of years later, which actually is a surprise given that the tour's here.
I thought maybe it would have started here.
Yeah, the talks and everything started in '99. It just took that long to get a board and get the facility and everything ready. But the first kids were actually impacted in 2001. But good question.
Have you broken it down as to like how much it costs per kid to put a kid through the program?
Yeah, we actually break it down for the different segments. So for the kids in the school program, it costs about 66 cents per child. There's not a whole lot of cost, but the outcome is not that much. Like literally a child's probably getting to hold a club like 3 or 4 times a year, in that 20, 30-minute program that they're running. The community program, it's a little different. That one, when you take the average, $2.37 a kid. Now the life skills program, you're into the $1,200–1,300 range. But that's how much more, investment is made into those children. And as Brooke said, the outcome is 100% of our kids that are in that program for 3 years or more graduate high school. Which is a good thing. I'll any more questions? I'll end on one final note. Yeah.
When you mentioned that every kid can take part, when you think about how you can categorize them, maybe free and reduced lunch kids or Title I kids or something, how many of those would be part of that 2,000?
A lot. So we never turn a child away. We offer financial assistance, and that's why we raise money. We raise money for the kids that can't, afford the program. I will say our program is very inexpensive to start off with. Normally, if you go out and get a 1-hour private lesson with a PGA professional or LPGA professional, you're probably in the $70 to $100 an hour range. Our classes are $55 for a 5-week range. So the child's coming for 5 weeks for $55. We don't turn any child away. Out of the 2,000, we roughly are about 44% of them are on financial assistance.
Okay.
So it is that is one of the major things that we're raising money for, is to support that program, to get in. But yeah, it's definitely something that Brooke and I are very passionate about, and reaching more kids, because obviously that's what we want to do, is get more kids involved in that program. But
Are we good? Great, thank you. As a thank you, Jeff,
thank you.
we will be making a contribution in your honor to the Rotary Foundation for Polio Plus.
Awesome.
So, yeah, thanks again very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I wanted to share with you, we just had some news that William Harrell's mother-in-law just passed away. So I know that his wife Barbara and William would express would like anything that you may feel that you want to share with them in terms of their loss. I know that she meant a great deal to William as well. So Thursday night's our oratory event. Don't forget, Steve Madden joining us. He is. Hey, Steve, were we able to stream this out, do you know, or Zoom it? Or is
No, sir. No, they cannot stream it. If you don't attend, then you have to wait like everybody else in Jacksonville for the broadcast in May around graduation time.
Got it. Hey, how much extra room do you think we have for anybody who may just want to join us, not RSVP?
I'd say about 10.
Okay.
About 10 slots.
Got it. Thanks. Govern yourselves accordingly, right? RSVP. MVP. Right. Good. Okay, so next week our speaker will be Chief Judge Mark Mahan. So yeah, how about that? Right. So as we end our meeting, please join me in the Rotary motto. Serve self, one profit supposed to serve best. See you next week.